Welcome. This is the Miracle Magnet podcast, where we share stories of everyday, extraordinary humans realizing great things in their lives. I am your host, Laura Magahi, and I can't wait for you to listen and be inspired by these people who are turning pain points into positives and letting the good ripple out. Come learn and see how you too can be a miracle magnet. Hello and welcome to the Miracle Magnet podcast. I am your host, Laura Magahi, and I am excited to welcome Kelly on our show today. She is a breast cancer survivor, but she is thriving. And I can't wait for her to share her story of how she turned this challenge into a big positive. So let's go meet Kelly. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you, Laura. So nice to see you again.
Good to see you. So our listeners are in for a treat here listening to you, Kelly, because you are a true inspiration and just so much good to offer the world. And so let's dive in. Kelly, let's start sort of at the beginning when there was this big pivotal moment for you when you recognized things had to change. Do you want to describe that to us a little bit?
Yes. So at the beginning of my career and being a mom, I threw myself into all of that and didn't take care of myself very well. So for about 10 years, I was a teacher and a mom and a wife first before anything else. So after not feeling good in my body, I started to exercise again. And then while I was showering, I felt a lump in my breast. And at that moment, I had this big mindset shift of, oh my gosh, I haven't been taking care of myself. And I haven't been good to my body and nourishing it like I should be. And so through all of that, and it's almost 3 years today that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I had two kinds. I had DCIS, which is in your milk ducts, and then I had invasive ductal carcinoma, which was the lump that was growing. So in that moment, it was a big scare, and I totally changed the way I thought about myself and what I needed to do for myself to live a happier, healthier life. And I think it's so easy for moms and teachers, and it's so easy to feel guilty about taking care of yourself. And because you have the responsibility, you brought kids into the world and you have a house to clean and you have food to make. And so for me, maybe my house is a little more messy now, but I have a bedtime and I don't keep cleaning until I'm finished. If like once my bedtime comes, I have to go to sleep because that's what my body needs.
Priority shift into self-care and self-love and including yourself in that whole wellness routine, not just your house and your kids, of course, and your husband taking care, but also including yourself in that
That's it.
Wow.
And so a big part of that was exercise. And there's so many studies that have shown that exercise can prevent cancer. It can prevent it reoccurring, especially with breast cancer. And just as we get older, it prolongs our life. It keeps our bones strong. It keeps I always say, motion is lotion for our joints. So the more you move, the less pain you're going to feel. Before teaching, I had a degree in kinesiology and I was a personal trainer and I loved it. I just didn't like the hours. So going through this whole experience, I was like, oh my goodness, I know what I need to do. And it's brought me back to what I truly enjoy, and that is exercising and teaching exercise and bringing exercise to people.
Fantastic. So Kelly, there was like a moment there too. We kind of glossed over it a bit, but I just want to highlight it for our listeners that when you got the diagnosis, was that we could easily step into a path of sort of despair and victim, but it sounds like you rose above and you chose the path of warrior woman, of someone who's going to beat this and thrive. Does that sound accurate?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I even made, like, I chanted to myself and I made a promise to myself, like, you're going to be healthy and I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to do the things that I neglected in this past time. We just need to get through this and everything is going to be okay. And part of the cancer journey is checking lymph nodes to see if like it has spread anywhere. So I remember like going through to have the surgery and thinking, okay, lymph nodes, you're going to come out clear and you're going to be good. And we are going to move past this. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to eat well. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
I love that. And that positive self talk, I think, is super important in this journey when we're trying to manifest big things and health and wellness in our lives, is to give ourselves positive words, positive thoughts, because then everything comes from that. Our actions come from how we treat ourselves. So I love that. Would you say that's still part of your prescription today? Is you still use the positive affirmations, the positive thoughts for your
Yeah,
people on the
absolutely.
wellness journey? Yeah.
And at the end of each exercise class, I try and come back to that and remind myself why I'm taking care of myself. A lot of the songs that I listen to while I'm working out is just about loving myself and loving your body and loving what your body can do and not what it can't.
Love that. Focusing on the possibility. Okay, so I'd love for you to explain to us now how you transformed this challenge into what you've manifested now into helping people and supporting people on their journeys.
Yes. So from this, I participated in a study through U of T and the University of Calgary and discovered this whole area of exercise that I didn't really know about before. It's exercise oncology, and it's actually um, showing how exercise can improve the outcomes for people living with cancer and in survivorship after. So I participated in that group, and then they discovered that I was a kinesiologist and said, hey, maybe you could be an instructor for us. And because they don't have instructors that have actually gone through cancer also. So I started that, and now I'm offering exercise classes in the evening and in the early mornings at 6 a.m. my time, which is 12 p.m. your time. And I'm bringing exercise to people through Zoom that may not have seen themselves as an exerciser before, but know, just like I did, that exercise is so important and we need to do it to be healthy. So that's part of it. I'm spreading, the joy of exercise to people living with and beyond cancer. But also my teacher colleagues were like, hey, we want to exercise too. So 2 mornings a week, I have a group of teachers and we exercise too. And they have all said, I have less back pain. I feel stronger. I have more energy. So the benefits of exercise for them even is it's showing.
Of course. And like, I love that because it's part of your original sort of feeling and noticing of yourself, observations of yourself, was that prior to a diagnosis, you knew that you weren't quite taking care of yourself. So even just in a sort of a regular, any regular occasion. So now you're offering that and extending yourself, your expertise to really to different groups. And so anybody who wants to improve their health and wellness through fitness. Love that, Kelly.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you faced some challenges along the way of this journey? Or any setbacks, or has it been smooth for you?
Well, so when I was diagnosed, I didn't talk about this part yet. When I was diagnosed, I had to make a quick decision on what I was going to do. And with breast cancer, there are so many options of different types of surgery you can have. You can have a surgery where they take skin from your back and they rebuild your breast. But for me, it was very clear that I needed this out of my body as soon as possible in the fastest possible way, whatever that needed to be. So I had a single mastectomy. I didn't have to coordinate with the plastic surgeon or anything to have an implant put in. So on my right side, I'm flat. I thought later maybe I'll have a surgery and replace it, but I'm happy and strong and I feel healthy and I don't need to replace it. And I feel like women don't necessarily need that to feel good in their body. And everyone makes different decisions, but for me, it was I'm healthy and I'm strong, and I don't want to go have another surgery that could change that. So one foot in front of the other, and we're just
You are truly a
keep
warrior, and I love your
keep going on.
Yeah, I love that underlying message that we are humans. We are perfect from the inside out. And so when we really do the inner work and we develop that resilience from within, and that really extends out, and I think people feel that resilience and that inspiration from you, Kelly, and that's why there's so many attracted to your fitness classes, and why I wanted you here to show the power of really transforming a really challenging situation into a positive, and you're a beautiful example of that.
Thank you.
How has sort of this journey then, again from that painful point to this more positive point, how has this changed your life and your perspective on life?
Well, you have to live in the moment, and you really do have to take care of yourself. So my biggest thing is like for moms and teachers and people that have thrown themselves into work, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And don't wait for the diagnosis to make yourself a priority. You need to be taking care of yourself all the way through. And it's not until you have a diagnosis that you really realize that, because for a few months, I wasn't able to lift my arm after the surgery. I couldn't lift my arm. I had to build those muscles up again and to get that range of motion back into my arm. I couldn't drive for a little while. So it's so important to make sure you're doing all of the things so that you don't have any regrets and and people can get cancer and you don't know why, but you want to be able to say to yourself, I did all the things that I could have done to be healthy.
Right. So yeah, in the moment, every day, making sure that you're nourishing yourself, and then I think when we are well, especially mamas or proud papas, when the parents are well, then the kids naturally thrive as well. So Kelly, share with us some of your good habits then. So you mentioned about the positive self-talk and some really uplifting songs about really loving yourself and taking care of yourself. Are there any other daily habits or routines that you include in your life now that help you have this wonderful life?
Well, one that has definitely helped is setting a bedtime and thinking and going backwards from when I have to wake up to when I need to go to sleep, and setting my alarm, or setting my phone to go into do not disturb mode at that time, and just shutting it down, stopping what I'm doing and just going to bed. So maybe there's dishes in the sink still, or there's some laundry that still needs to be folded, but I won't. That that could go on for
It's never
days and
ending.
days and hours and hours.
There's always going to be something else to do. So really establishing that boundary for yourself that you need that quality sleep, because I know that that's another pillar of our overall wellness. We need, 6 to 8 hours of good sleep. That's a great reminder for us, Kelly. Thank you. And of course, your exercise. Would you say you exercise daily
Yes,
then with all your groups? Is that almost daily?
it's daily, and just finding the moments to get the movement in. So going for walks or taking the stairs instead. And so we call it like exercise snacks. As long as you're accumulating a certain amount of exercise, or you're accumulating exercise through the week, getting your heart rate up, it doesn't matter how you're doing it. You want to add in more movement throughout your day.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you mentioned earlier about looking sort of in the frame of possibility, and that reminds me of this, is really finding those moments in between and those situations where you could choose the movement over a stagnant position. And I love too, Kelly, your so the snacks, the movement snacks, I think that's great. And the motion is lotion, did you say earlier? Motion is lotion. I
Yes.
think those are
Yeah.
good little taglines for us to remember. Movement snacks and motion is lotion. Those are really good. Um, so, why should one of our listeners be inspired by your story?
Well, I think when you're faced with a challenge, you could easily go into the darkness and the sadness of everything that's happened. And it's okay to have those feelings, but you have to find the glimmer of hope and take your steps towards that light and find the peace in your heart to be able to move forward from that. And my joy was through exercise and moving past the fact that I lost a breast. Now I feel strong and healthy, and I don't even want to think of doing another surgery, because I'm thinking, well, that could set me back. I'm enjoying exercise, and if I have to have a surgery, I might be out for another 6 weeks or so. So I don't want to stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I guess too, with doing exercise, Kelly, just in general, is that we do get more self confident. We become more self aware. And when we know ourselves better, even through movement, that we are more confident. So then that's where this is coming from too, is when you really are, confident in your body, is that you feel, okay, I don't need to change something else about me because I already feel good in here. So maybe that does play a role, multiple layers of the benefits of fitness for sure.
Yes, I could go on about the benefits of fitness. It's good for your brain.
Well, I'm
It's
a
good.
PE teacher, a specialization in teaching physical education. So I'm right with you, and I really saw the benefits from the other end of life, the little wee ones, how much confidence and joy they took in just participating. And so I think we can get a lot of lessons from kids too.
Yes.
So what advice could you give to somebody also in this, maybe in a similar situation, who has a really sort of a life-threatening challenge, and to shift from that victim to an empowered woman? Any advice for them?
Well, yes, I think listening to your body for sure and doing and thinking, what does my body need in this moment? Do I need more sleep? Do I need social support? So how can I find a community of people that can help pull me through it? Because you don't have to do it alone. So I found strength in an exercise community that helped pull me through and keep me focused on taking care of myself and building those daily habits. And now I'm offering a community to others going through cancer. And it's like we all have a common goal is to be healthy. And in the cancer exercise group, we talk about like, oh, we're going for a scan today and wish me luck or send me good vibes and positivity to help me get through the scan with some
So what
positivity.
you're doing is, you're contributing something so valuable, and I love that people can see that we too, anybody can turn, a negative into a positive by shifting how you're thinking about it. So this is a great example, Kelly. You are a great example. Um,
Thank you.
do you have an inspiring quote that sort of keeps you, inspired?
I I do. It's about having a positive mindset, and I feel like having positive relationships around you can just make a difference in your life. Life becomes easier and more beautiful when you can see the good in others. So, and that's from like small children to adults. If you can see even just the smallest bit of good in a situation or in another person, it changes how you feel inside about that situation. And just going into any conversation or interaction with another person, if you're thinking about the good, you're exchanging those good feelings between each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's an expression, harvest the good, and so whenever we're in a certain situation, but to look for the good, and I think that's such a key part of this journey of exactly what you've done is, out there helping and serving now, and using your life, using your experience for good, and then that just ripples out also. So that's a great thing to remember, Kelly. Thank you. How can our listeners find you if they're looking for inspiration, or perhaps they need support? Is there somehow they can follow you and your work?
Yes, I have a website, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook. The name of my business and my Instagram is Fit2 with the number 2, Fit to Beat Disease. And I named my business that because fitness is no longer about looking good anymore. There is a purpose to exercise and being fit. It is to stay healthy and to beat illness.
Kelly, I'll share all that information in the description below, so you can find Kelly and her wonderful work and her community if you feel called to do so. Kelly, you are an inspiration. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. I think we have some good wisdom to remember, listening to our inner voice, really those intuitive messages that we get all the time that are uniquely for us, and then that those can help guide us into a more healthy and well life. So thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for having me, Laura.
Pleasure. Take care. Thank you ever so much for tuning into this recent episode of the Miracle Magnet Podcast, where we aim to inspire everyday people to be extraordinary in their own lives, in their own ways. You can continue this good magnetism by forwarding this podcast episode to a friend whom you think might benefit, or perhaps even share with us your very own miracles.